So in my today's video, I'll be telling you on what are the signs to know if you're fallen in love. So let's see what it is. So before I start, I'm sure everyone who's watching this video in particular, either you're watching it because you're in love, or you want to know if you're in love, or you just want to see what am I going to tell and just check yourself if you have ever fell in love. Anyways, let's get started. So before we start, what is love? Love has many definitions. People define it differently based on their experiences or based on their thinking. Few might say it's a magical feeling, and others might say it is something which has no logic to it, and love might hurt, and others might say that love is something that changes you into a completely different person. Like, for the sake of love, you try giving up on your bad habits and it changes you, it brings out the bad from you and it makes you a very good person. And sometimes you might say that love is something that makes you a very senseless person. You get to be lost when you're in love, and sometimes you might act stupid or behave stupid. It's all a part and parcel of being in love. And you realize that only after you get out from that state. Until then, you'll be like completely into it, where you really don't bother about anything that's happening around you. So let's see what are the rest and what are the signs to know if you are in love. So the first sign is, if you're in love, you tend to keep thinking about that one person. Even when you're busy doing something else, you keep remembering that one person, and that's a clear sign to tell that you are in love or you are interested in that person. So the next thing is, if you're in love, you tend to smile whenever you hear that person's name or you hear something about that person. You get a smile or a blush on your face, like whenever you remember something that is related to that person, or you see something which makes you remember that person, you automatically has a pretty smile, and which is also a blush on your face, and that's a clear sign to know that you are in love. Sometimes we tend to remember a person whom we don't have any kind of contacts with for a long time. Like, sometimes it would have been long since you've met that person, or you wouldn't have had a call or a conversation on phone for a long time, or you haven't even had a text or a chat with that person, and still you end up remembering that person or missing that person. So that is another clear sign to tell that you are in love. The next thing is, if you're in love, you tend to stalk that person a lot on all possible social media, whatever that person uses. You tend to stalk that person a lot to know more about that person, and you do that in order to just know about that person. You are so much into that person, interested in that person. You want to know that person's likes, dislikes, what does that person do on a regular basis, who are the ones close to that person. You just want to know, you're just curious about knowing about that person, and that is all because you are so much interested in that person. And the amount or the extent that you stalk the person clearly shows you how much you are into that person, or how much do you love that person, or you wish to have that person in your life. And the next thing about love is, you really don't know when or on whom will you get it. Like, it's not up to your control. Like, it just happens on its way. And I don't know, there are two kinds of love, they say. One is love at first sight, and other one is like love just happens on the path, like without even your knowledge, you just fall into love. So that's the two ways where you get into love. So whatever it is, it's not up to your control. So just go with the flow. That's the only thing you can do. That you might have done if you're in love is that you might tend to look at that person's picture or any kind of messages, like, or conversations that you've had before, and you tend to admire the person's photo, or tend to secretly smile at that, looking at that person's picture, or talk to that picture. You do all such crazy things. Yeah, you know that love is a crazy feeling which makes you go crazy, and this is one of the signs to tell that you might fall in love with that person. thing is, if you're in love, you tend to talk about that person a lot. Like you keep telling about that person to your close friend. Like you are so much interested in talking about each and everything that person does, and you keep talking about that person much more than anyone else that you keep talking about. And that's a clear sign which shows that you are interested in that person, and you might fall in love with that person that you're talking about or thinking about a lot. You might think about that person in your future, or you might plan something where that person is also included in your future, and that's a clear sign to tell that you are in love with that person. And the next thing is, if you're in love, you might be so much interested, or you might find reason in order to keep in touch with that person. You might text that person or call that person, or somehow you find some ways to talk to that person, and that's a clear sign that you are interested in that person. The next thing is, when you're truly in love, no one else sounds interesting as much as that one person does. Like, the only person that interests you or makes you happy is that one person that you're in love with, and anyone else, whoever comes, you don't find so much interest in anyone else except that one person. So that's a clear sign to tell that you are in love with that person. Thing is, if you're in love, you won't be able to cheat that person that you love, and that's a clear sign. You won't even feel like you automatically tend to tell the truth to that person, and that's a clear sign to tell that you are in love with that person. You tend to care a lot for that person. Like you get sad when that person falls sick or something bad happens to that person. So all that is a sign that to say that you are in love. When you're in love, you tend to change your ideas or change your thinkings based on the person that you love, and that's a clear sign that you are in love. You get hurt when that particular person avoids you, and that's a clear sign to know that you have fallen in love with that person. When you're in love with a particular person, you automatically tend to trust that person a lot, so you even share your deepest secret with that person, and that's a clear sign to tell that you are in love with the person. And when you're in love, it's that person whom you want to share your secrets with or share your success with. Anything good happens to you, or anything that is sad, or anything that makes you very happy, you are so much interested in telling it to that one particular person as first, and that's a clear sign to tell that you are in love with that person. Thing is, if you're in love, it's going to be that one person that you think about just before you sleep in the night, and it is going to be the same person that you remember when you wake up in the morning, and that's a clear sign to tell that you are in love with that person. So if you want to figure out, like, if you really love that person, just imagine a life without having that person in your life, and if that made you happy, good enough. You're not really in love with that person. But if that makes you sad somewhere, then it means that you have some kind of feeling towards that person. So just think about it, find out the answer, and clear your confusions. It might be hard to confess your love, but it's better that you do it so that it gets, like, you get a clear answer to it, so you don't keep having hopes. It might be hard even if you get a no, but it's okay, you can still get over it. So either tell it and get a clear answer, or else just forget about it. So that's the best thing. Or if you're okay being a one-side lover, just continue being like that. So whatever you wish to. If you haven't, and then later if you think it's too late, there's no point in regret, so it's better you do it now or never. No, love is a feeling which puts you into a lot of confusions, and it might take a lot to get over it, but make sure that you don't take any stupid decision in the name of love. Like, there are people around you, your family, who loves you more than anyone else, so just think about it before doing something stupid in love. Make a wise decision, don't be a fool in love. Before you decide about love, make sure that you use your brains and don't make stupid decisions. But if you give a word to someone, make sure that you keep it up. Don't ever cheat on that person. So if you like my video, do subscribe to my channel and share my video. This is Jincy signing off. Have a nice day. Keep smiling.